We aye man, how y'all doing? It's hosted down outside. It's Damie nappering man. There's me walking across them fields, it's clarty as out. Time it's sticking the house, do some modelling, do some clagging together. Well, hello there, and how's everybody doing? That introduction was by way of somebody who commented that they were unable to understand what I was saying, and would it be possible to add subtitles? Hi everybody, hope you're okay. So it's the day after Mother's Day here in the UK, and as you can see, I had to clear the table and extend it all out so that the family could come round, and we had a great time paying tribute and thanks to those ladies who mean so much to us. And I thought, here's an opportunity to actually start a new build. I'm still waiting on some bits and pieces to finish off the Junkmeister, and I thought I would get this out, which I introduced a while back, just before Christmas, when a friend kindly handed it on to me. He said it was part of his father's collection, and his father's passed away now, and he would like to see it built and flying, and there was little chance for him actually doing it. So here we have it. It's the Keeled Craft Ladybird. I've done a little bit of research, and it was also described as the flying brick. So we'll see what it comes out like. It's my intention to convert this free flight model into simple radio control with some lightweight gear. And at a swap meet a month or so ago, I was fortunate to pick up this little ED engine, which I think might be a little bit too small for the job, because this is a sort of range for free flight, but we'll see. It's a 0.75 DC early version. I've had it in the stand to try it out. I might even have a little video of it run. If I have, I'll put it in there. So let's have a look and see what I'm going to tackle. I'll get something on the table to stop me taking chunks out of it. I don't want to get in any more trouble. And then we'll come back and we'll see what's in the box and where I'm going to begin the process. Well, here we go. I've got a protective cover on the table, a solid building board that I use, and on top of that I've got some plasterboard, a sheet of plasterboard cut down, and I picked this up from Cliff Harvey as a tip actually. It takes a pin really well, you can push in by hand. You get the odd little resistance spot, but it's great for pinning plans down. So let's have a look at what we've got here with the Ladybird kit. The plans, more of those in a second. I did an unboxing of such just before Christmas of this, so I don't really want to repeat it too much. Beautiful instructions, and I might break the habit of a lifetime being a bloke. I'm actually going to read these because they're just so nicely written. So there's the model. Really rather fetching, I think, and beautifully described, the steps, no illustration, just all writing. There you go. And then there are some parts to cut out. As I mentioned when I first opened this, there's a lot of cutting to be done, and that's the first task I'm going to do. The formers have been started by Roy's dad. This one's been partly cut out, so is this one, and this one's not been started. I'm not surprised. It's going to be a real pain cutting these out, because we're talking 1/8 plywood here, and I suspect that it was all done by hand by his dad. But he has made a start, and he has cut out the wing ribs. These were just printed on the sheet. You can see the printing there. They were printed on the sheet, and he's actually done a very good job of cutting them out. I've seen some awful models spoilt, really, kits spoilt by some terrible cutting and sanding, but these have been done really well. And I think what I'm actually going to begin with is the tail and the wings, and the reason for that is that to convert to radio control, I'm going to have to think carefully about how I'm going to actually alter the design. Will I go for rudder only, or rudder and elevator. There'll be no throttle control. It'll be running on full power from the start. It'll probably need all of that, and I might need to have to go up an engine size. I'm not sure whether to actually have a separate elevator here or an all-moving tail surface. So because that's going to take a bit of time in my head to work out how to do it, I might leave this till last. I may also reduce down the thickness of some of this material because I want to keep as much weight down as possible. We'll see. But I think I'll start with the wings, which look fairly straightforward. They're actually held in place with a tongue, and they're held in place with an elastic band pulling the two wings together. And that seems like a nice little starting point to begin with. You can see like an exploded diagram here showing you what it'll look like. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is cut that piece of plywood out. And that's the first task we'll do, and then we'll come back and pin this plan down and actually start the process of building the wing. Time to cut out these plywood parts. I'm going to use a scroll saw to do this. It's a piece of kit that is very useful. I used it a lot when I was building model boats. Less so obviously with model planes, but when you're cutting something like these parts out of plywood, it's ideal. You can obviously change the blade to suit what you're cutting, the thickness of the wood, but I'll hack these out first and then trim them up, finish them off on the sander, and we'll do that as a time lapse. Apart from anything else, it's extremely noisy. Okay, here goes. There you have it, cut out. That'll need to be drilled in the centre. I believe that's where the hook goes for the elastic band to retain the wings. These will be finished off on the sander. I'll cut the remaining wing parts out, and while I'm at it, I might as well cut out the formers while I've got the bit of kit out. These have now been cut out, and you can see I've drilled some holes in here, and I'll actually disconnect the blade, put it through, cut these out, and then there'll be a little bit of hand fettling to finish off. This is very much old school. It's not your laser cutouts that you would have from a modern kit, or even if you've got a laser cutter at home. It's still a lot more sophisticated than I did as a spotty youth, when everything would be done with a Stanley knife and a hacksaw blade, and it would take us hours and hours and hours to do. But it's just part of the process, and it's very much tabletop modelling and old school. After some fettling and playing about with sanders and files, I'm calling these done now. So these are for the fuselage. They're not actually completed as it happens, but R1 is the first rib here, and it provides the locating, actually if I put it this way, the locating rib for this tongue mechanism, which will hold the wing to the fuselage. So that's the first one. It's actually set at an angle, and that creates the dihedral. I've also taken the time to cut out these parts. The engine bearer parts haven't been finely fettled yet, but they've been done by using the scroll saw and sanders. Job done. I'm calling this video done as well. I'm going to leave it at that now, have a little break, and tomorrow I'll actually start laying out this wing here, and we'll start the wing construction proper. Thanks for taking the time to watch. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe, and if you don't mind, a thumbs up helps the algorithms and spreads the word of the model making that goes on here in Gateshead, England. Bye for now.